So the universe keeps sending, well, my inner subconscious keeps sending me reflections of myself. And I remember the quote over and over because I was getting aggravated and angry. And it's the same lesson over and over and over again. And the universe, through them, is aggravating me to help me understand, why are you moving so slow? And it's not my impatience. It's the rationale of the opportunity. It's the danger that they're in. The lack of consideration of the opportunity cost. And how slow they're going to do what they're supposed to do. And I keep meeting Aquarius energy where they're fixated on their dysfunction. And it's so frustrating to deal with. And Capricorns as well. But I keep attracting Aquariuses who are super fixated on being dysfunctional. And they're fixated on what they think they know. And I'm coming into their life and I'm like, yo, what are you doing? Why are you moving like you got all this time? Like they live in this fucking fairy tale ideological world where it's like they want to abide by the plan like a Saturn child, but like their vision of the plan of their vision. And I'm like, and on top of that, they want the they want the approval of others. And I realize, as it being my South Node, and I have this friend who's an Aquarius Sun, Capricorn rising. She's double my South Node. So if I'm not careful with her, she'll slow me down. And I'm realizing that she can be such a waste of time to deal with because she does not, and because she has a Mercury in Pisces, every time I meet a Pisces, they don't live in fucking reality. And it reminds me of myself, up to say, like, the universe had to tell me, do you see yourself? Where you're moving slow, you act like you have all the time in the world, you procrastinate, you don't abide by the plan, you let things excite you way too much, and here's what that means. You let it jolt you up with emotion, and then you go back down to doing what you're comfortable with, right? And I keep speaking to her about, yo, you need to move with urgency. You need to move now. Like, you don't need to move. You need to move tomorrow. Like, she's in a situation where she's in her parents' house. And I'm like, yo, you need to move this weekend or at least by Monday. And she keeps avoiding me. Like, she's not picking up the phone and calling. And like, she wants me to join her world in confusion. And as I'm on this live, I've decided I'm no longer gonna direct you because you're too much. You're not in confusion. You're not logical. You're based on a lot of confusion, and you're not taking into consideration where you are with who you are and what you have. And She's making the same mistake over and over and over, and it's a reflection of myself. Where you get opportunity and you're missing the thing over and over and over and over and over in this cycle. And I said she has this boyfriend again of a person who is keeping her in a dysfunctional state. He's telling her to go after an apartment that is like she got an apartment recently that's a year. That was a year. The realtor called and said we can't move forward with it, and he's telling her to settle for it because while it's roach infested, doors are broken, stuff is fixated, and I'm like, bro, that's for somebody who's desperate. You need to get your money back and move. Move into a place. You need to be on this nomad life and say, yo, you're not unstable because you have a check. All you need is for somebody to watch your kid. And she refuses to move. It's like she goes super slow. And I'm like, boy, what the fuck is wrong with you? While she has these parents who are doing this vile shit. And it's super fascinating how she won't, because here's the thing that I've learned. You gotta be super careful what you get accustomed to. Because if you get accustomed to dysfunction, when something that's of higher force, and I'm learning this lesson over and over and over again too, when you come to something of higher force that is here to get you out of your dysfunction, you'll cuddle yourself to the dysfunction. You'll coddle it. You'll hang on for dear life. And I'm realizing, why are you holding on so strongly to dysfunction? Like you want to be there a little bit longer. For what? Leave. Stop staying where you're unwanted. And I'm like, and it's like she's speaking to everybody else. But what about us? And I said, okay, so what are we gonna do? And I keep getting this inner conflict of you and I. Like, she speaks to me when she can. She speaks to me when, like, it's not a we thing. It's not a we thing. And here's, let me give you an example. When I say it's not a we thing. When you have a we thing, there's constant communication of how we're gonna move forward. What are we gonna do? It's not when you hope I get it, or when you hope I get or when things clear up on your side, then I can communicate with you. Like when you're about we, you don't leave the other person in the dark. Like, and here's what I mean by that. When you're about we, you make sure that person knows every step of the way what's going on. If that person, if somebody's not calling, you let them know. If somebody doesn't fall through, you let them know. If you're making a move, you let them know. And not like a parent, but because you are considering them when they are moving. So I get it. Like I appreciate the individuality of each relationship, of every relationship. But I'm like, sweetie, you moving like if you by yourself. And here's a powerful thing, right? You have to know. You know what's crazy? I'm learning about the North and the South Node. You really gotta know when somebody's in their South Node, because it will help you a lot on where they are in their life. Are they on their South Node? And she's very much in her South Node. She's doing the Gemini thing of being very, very linear, because Geminis like details. They're very aloof. They're very logical, and they're very much. And I'm not saying Sagittarius is not logical, but Sagittarius is more analytical. That doesn't mean logical. It just means that they analyze things before at least they do their best to analyze things before they impulsively jump ship. But they still jump ship. The Gemini will think and think and think and think and think and overanalyze. I do love them because they do know when to take action to some extent. They're better than the Virgo. But the Gemini will sit there in thought and meditate with the thought just to sound sexy. And I'm like, bro, you keep repeating the same thought to me about what happened. It's like you stuck. And I'm like, so what are you doing? And I said, I don't like the fact that I have to keep calling you about what you're finna do. What are you gonna do? And I hate the fact that I have to keep directing you about what the fuck are you gonna do. And the universe keeps reminding me over and over and over and over and over again. Stop moving so slow. Stop thinking you have forever. Start moving with impulse, direction, a mission, goals, and urgency. Like I understand now when I was in retail how they used to say you don't move with urgency. You move like you miss Daisy. Like you don't move like you have a fire under your ass. And because we're so used to this function, when the fire's under our ass, we don't feel it until things go kaboom. Until things go a kabust. And I'm realizing I can't do that no more. I'ma check in one more time. And if she don't got a plan, I'm not gonna tell her what to do no more because she doesn't seem like she's up there for real. And I'm like, bro, what the fuck do you mean? You staying, you chilling. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? And every time I check somebody like this, they end up running away from me. And they end up falling on their face. And I'm like, sweetie, you in the same position. I'm telling you to move forward with your life. And then you tell me some shit about, it's me and how I said it and how I made you feel. And I'm like, sweetie, you gotta understand, if you don't move now, you're never gonna move. I'm not telling you what I think. I'm telling you what I know. And then when the opportunity comes again, you miss it. And the universe through them is showing me that's bad. When the opportunity is hot, go. Go, go, go. And because when the opportunity, and it's like the same lesson. When the opportunity returns in 6 months, you wasted 6 fucking months. Instead of you could have had a built up fan base by now. I'm no longer doing that shit anymore. It's hard. Because you have to have a certain amount of faith. But trust me, when you realize, I'm glad I started 6 months ago. Instead of a year from now, you'll be so thankful. I keep meeting people who say, I'm going to start a year from now. I'm going to start 6 months from now. I'm going to do it 5 months. I said, yo, you got 5 months? You amazed. Like my last Gemini partner, she said, I'm going to do it next year. I said, why are you waiting till next year? What you doing that you can't do it right now? So the universe is reflecting to me like, yo, people miss it. Just like I had this book that taught me about real estate. I could have been just following up and calling it at least for 2 hours a day. 2 hours a day. I'm not doing that no more. Reflections and introspections. But go to bit.ly/full chart 197 to book your consultation. But man, don't miss your shot. Because it may not come around again the same way. I promise you. Let me say it may not. It will not. Every day that you waste, it will not return the same. Go to bit.ly/full chart 197 to book your consultation. And text 910 Text I paid to 910-808-9330. Subscribe below. Man, I just had partially had to get that off my chest. But bro,